So a bit of a different video today. What we're doing is a tier list of all the top performance VAG cars from 2001 to 2020, so that 19-20 year span of all the high performance VAG cars, that's Seats, Audis, Volkswagens and Skodas over that time span. Now, you might disagree with a lot of my choices. This is my personal tier list, so I'm just going to put them in where I feel they should go. But please do let me know. I'm open to any suggestions or different points of view down below in the comments for anything you think majorly I've got wrong or you position slightly differently. If maybe you got one of these cars and you're offended by where I put it in the tier list. Apologies as well, because maybe the stats are slightly incorrect. I had to do a kind of rush job of researching engine sizes and the brake horsepower as well of each car, so I do apologise if it's slightly inaccurate. And also there's not every single hot performance version of VAG cars over those 20 years, I'm afraid. I couldn't get enough space to get them all in, so I've just kind of picked a lot of the key ones that are well known by everyone these days. I really am interested to see everyone's kind of personal take on this as well. And you can also access this tier list with the car lineup as well in the template. I'll leave a link down below in the description if you want to go onto this and kind of mess around with it yourself. You can let me know what you find is your top tier list cars in this selection. Right, let's get started. So first up we have, of course, the standard well-known Mark V Golf GTI, this white one here. They're well known, they're solid, reliable all-rounder cars. If I didn't have a Mark II Leon, there's a good chance I'd have a Mark V Golf GTI, and they're more than capable enough. I wouldn't say they're anything over the top, they just do everything really well. Styling wise, maybe they are looking a bit dated these days compared to modern cars, but yeah, a good all-rounder, and I'm going to put it in the middle of the road just now in the B tier. As for the Mark VI Golf GTI, so we have, sorry, I should have said the Mark V Golf GTI has 2-litre turbo engine pushing out 197 brake horsepower. This red Mark VI one here is again a 2-litre turbo engine pushing out 210 brake horsepower. Again, looks a lot, I'm just going a lot, it looks a little better than the Mark V, but still nothing mind-blowing, so I'm going to again put it middle of the tier just now. B tier is basically my average. Good cars all around, but nothing out of the ordinary, nothing kind of spectacular at all. Now the Mark VII, I did get a short of driving a Mark VII Golf GTI about 5 or 6 years ago. Really good car, DSG gearbox, it had less power than my Mark II Leon, but because of the DSG gearbox, it rattled through the gears so quickly. It was such a good performing car all around, and I did really enjoy driving it. I'm going to put A tier for the Golf GTI. Yeah, I do think, I think they still hold up well looks wise today, although the more the Golf GTI goes on through the years, it seems to get blander and blander, especially today's standards, although the kind of club sport ones definitely look like they stand out. But yeah, I'm going to put the Mark VII just now in A tier. I haven't got the 7.5 because they're roughly the same look overall and same performance. Now we do have the Mark VII Golf GTD, because I thought it was worth including a diesel in this lineup. So the GTD is going to go in, yeah, I'm going to put it in A tier. I had a lift in one, so I'm going to give me a lift in one, and I was really impressed by the performance, the pulling power of that 2-litre turbo engine. I think it's 181 brake horsepower it says here for that engine, and they do pull really well through the gears. Good economy as well from that engine if you drive it sensibly, and yeah, a really good all-round car if you want economy, performance, and being a practical kind of reliable car as well. I'm saying reliable, I haven't owned one long enough to see if it's reliable. You can let me know if these things are reliable or not. So next up we have the Mark VI Golf R. Now I really like the look of these. If anyone's ever seen, I think it's Fifth Gear did it, I can't mind who drove them. Someone, the presenter drove a Mark VI Golf R around the track and then timed it versus a Mark II Leon Cupra R, the famous yellow one that you see in all the early news articles and release presses for that car. And they drove them both around the track, and they actually enjoyed driving the Mark II Leon around the track more than the Golf R, but the Golf R was the faster one, obviously because of four-wheel drive, it was getting around a wee bit quicker. And I think they look really good. I liked the look of the wheels that came with them, the paint choices was good. I'm going to pop it in at A. Yeah, I'm going to stick to A. So really I should put the Mark VII Golf R in A as well. Yeah, I am. I can't really say my reasons too much behind that. Everyone knows the Golf Rs are very capable cars. They handle well, good performance, just everything. They do everything really well, and they're a fairly practical hatchback as well. So and I do like the look of them. I still think a Mark 7 Golf R looks really good on the road today's standards, so yeah, we'll leave that an A just now. So next up we have the Polo, the white Polo GTI here. This was the 9N, sorry, 2006-2009 version, with 1.8 litre turbo, 148 brake horsepower engine. Now, nothing bad about it, it doesn't look too bad. I kind of thought it looked like a slightly muscular Lupo in a way, if that's fair to say or not. So I would never go for one, and I apologise if anyone's watching that has got one themselves, but I'm just kind of going to put it in C tier. It's not disgusting, it's not really ugly in any way, but yeah, not something I would personally go for myself, so I think I'm going to pop it into the C tier on here. Next up we have another Polo GTI. This is the 6R. 6R came with a 1.4 litre TSI engine, 178 brake horsepower between 2010 to 2014. Again, looks okay. It looks like very similar to the Golf of around the same time, so I'm going to put it right beside the Golf. They look like twins pretty much there. They're very similar styles of car. They just had a miniature version in the Polo. Next one up here is the Golf GTI AW. Now I've missed out the 6C for some reason. I don't know why it's not on my list here. Apologies for that if you own a 6C, but we have jumped that one and gone to the AW version, which was 2018 to 2020. This was a 2 litre TSI engine pushing out 200 brake horsepower and looking very similar to the Mark 7 Golf of that era as well. But again, not anything particularly mind-blowing for me when it comes to that car, so I'm going to pop it in the middle of the road, B tier for that one. Now we're on to the Passat. Now the Passat R36. If anyone watches TR Hamza on YouTube, he's currently renovating or refurbishing, whatever you want to call, restoring, that's what the word is, restoring an R36. He's doing an amazing job. Underside completely stripped back, new suspension parts, under seal, and yeah, I love the look of these cars. I think the estates look really good in that colour as well, perfect. The kind of chrome parts on the front of the grille, looks muscular, nice wheels, and the engine, of course, that 3.6 litre, I think I'm going to get the stats right, yeah, 3.6 litre V6 engine pushing out 296 brake horsepower. I think it was the same, along the same lines of the engine they put in the R32s, but I think they were 3.2 V6 instead. So these 3.6 V6s sound amazing with the right exhaust setup, and I'm a big fan. If I could afford a nice mint one, I would get one. They're practical, they're rapid, and they look the part as well. So I am putting that in S tier, actually. The hatchback saloon version, I think it's hatchback for these ones, I'm not too sure, of the R36. Again, it's got everything that the estate has, but I just don't think it looks as good in that version. I don't know why. I'm going to pop it in A tier. Simple as that. It's got everything that the estate has apart from the estate shape, so hence why I think it not quite got the looks that I would go for myself, so popping in A tier. Next up we have the Scirocco R in this lovely lime green colour. I think the Scirocco R still looks good to this day. It's definitely got that presence, the muscular presence of being an R version over the standard Siroccos, and therefore with that engine that was found in my Cupra R and I think the Golf R at that same time as well, so I'm going to pop it up into A tier. Yeah, that's where it's going. The Arteon R, this is, yeah, 2020, so I think it actually just started manufacturing in 2020. This is a 2 litre turbo with 316 brake horsepower. Very different looking car, Volkswagen's lineup. It's got a lot of road presence to it. Obviously all the tech inside from being quite a new car on the market. What's my thoughts on it? I don't know. If you've seen the estate versions, I think this is the Sportback saloon hatchback version, not sure how the back works exactly, but the saloon, the estate version looks a bit like, what does it remind me of? Like a Mercedes, one of the kind of long, sleek Mercedes estates back in the day, but I'm just not sure about it overall. I think I'm going to pop it in B tier. I don't think it's an ugly car at all, I'm just not too sure about it. There's something about it. It's going in B tier just now for that one. Next one we have is a Touareg R50. Now I didn't even know this R50s was one that existed. I just thought you got these really powerful Touaregs. I was aware of that, but they're called the R50. This is 2007, 2010. This had a massive 5 litre V10 TDI pushing out what sounds like quite a small 345 brake horsepower. Imagine the torque figure in this was enough to pull a 3-bedroom house down the street. So they look like they've got a lot of presence on the road, But could you get that by just putting on nice wheels on a normal Touareg and, you know, putting a few body styling parts on it? Imagine the engine sounds quite good, but maybe it's, you know, muffled by all the exhaust systems and stuff. I don't know, but again, not a car I would personally go out for to go and buy. Maybe it's obviously very practical, but I don't know. And once you start getting such a large diesel engine, the benefits of diesel can be that it's quite economical. But once you get to a 5-litre V10, you must be spending more on diesel than you would on a high-performance petrol car. So I'm going to pop it in B. B just now. Next up, we have the Audi Audi S3 in this kind of off-yellow colour here. I don't know if that's the lighting in this picture or not. I'm sure it's the same kind of yellow as my Leon should be, but yeah, I wasn't overly keen on this model. This was the 8L, so this is 2001-2003, and this is a 1.8 litre turbo engine with 225 brake horsepower, and I'm sure it had 4-wheel drive from day one when the S3 came out. I'm going to pop this in the C tier, and they're still desirable cars. They're kind of collector's items now if you can get a good clean one. They're worth a lot of money if you can get a good clean one. Personally though, I don't see them as being desirable for myself, so I'm going to pop it in C tier at the moment. Next one we have this nice bright orange one. I don't know if this is a standard factory colour or if someone's obviously sprayed it that colour. This is the 8P Audi S3, 2006-2013, 2-litre turbo, 261 brake horsepower engine. Same engine you'd find in the Scirocco R, the Golf R and the Leon Cupra R. I think it's a nice looking car. I do like it as it's kind of definitely modernised the shape compared to the earlier S3. And I'm going to pop it middle of the road with the rest of the Golf lineup and a few others there. Then we have the next S3, so this was the 8V. This is 2013 to 2020. This was a 2-litre turbo engine again with 296 brake horsepower. They were pushing towards that 300 brake horsepower mark for a lot of the S3s and the Golf Rs around then. Do really like the shape actually, especially the saloon. I'm going to pop it up beside the Golf R, the Scirocco R, sorry. Do really like that. Let me know in the comments, what's the best shape for S3s and RS3s? Is it the hatchback or the saloon? I think the saloon looks way better than the hatchbacks in both RS3s and S3s. With the quad tailpipes or the twin ovals on the RS3s, I just think they suit a saloon version a lot better. But yeah, maybe I am wrong and everyone else thinks it's hatchbacks that are better. And talking hatchbacks, here is the RS3, this red one. So this was the early RS3 model, which is the 8P. 2011 to 2012 roughly, a 2.5 litre turbo, 335 brake horsepower, that famous 5-pot engine in the RS3 when it came out. Now, I'm not overly keen on this shape. I think it looks a bit of a weird combination. I didn't like the look of the A3 5-door hatchback back in the day, and then when they made it into RS3, I just thought it looked kind of a mess, a bit unfortunate. You can see it's an RS3 because it's got the wee silver stylings, it's got the RS3 standard wheels, it's got a lovely sounding engine inside it, but I just think it just didn't look quite right in proportions. So yeah, I'm popping it in C, I'm afraid. Next up we have another RS3, this is the more recent 8V 2015-2020, again a 2.5 litre 5-cylinder engine, and we had 362 to 394 brake horsepower roughly for this one. I really like the look of this one, and I'm going to pop it up alongside my modern looking S3 as well, as you'd probably expect. Now onto the RS4s. So we have RS4 B7 2006-2008 roughly, 4.2 litre V8 engine with 414 brake horsepower. Amazing sounding engine, 414 brake horsepower, more than enough for your average family saloon on the road. This one, do you like the look of it? I think it looks quite muscular. I think it's aged a lot better than the older Golfs and Audi S3s and RS3s. So I'm going to pop it in middle of the road B tier because I'm looking forward to the next two, which I'm going to push a bit higher as you'd probably expect. We have the next one here, so this is an RS4 as well. This is the B8 2012-2016, 4.2 litre V8 engine again with 444 brake horsepower. This one I'm definitely going to put in A tier. I really like the look of this. My mate Graham, who was in the North Coast 500 video, if you've seen that, he had the blue VXR. He used to own one of these, took me a shot out the road in it. Just mental. The sound, the speed, and you're just kind of this great big car that's just whisper quiet as well. It's just, yeah, really, really good to get a shot on it. Sadly, he went through a deep puddle driving the main road one day, waterlogged, and went through a really deep puddle. Water got sucked into the intake and hydrolocked the engine, and it wrote the car off. It was going to cost too much to fix, so sadly that car is no longer. But yeah, really nice car. So up into A tier. The next one, we have the newer RS4. This is the B9 version 2017-2020, a 2.9 litre V6 turbo with 444 brake horsepower. So this is when they started to downscale the size of the engines, go from their V8s to V6s instead. If someone could do a perfect combination, I really like the look of this car. I think it's got a presence on the road, but it's got a V6, not a V8 engine now. Can anyone put V8 engines from the older version RS4s into the newer shape? That'd be a brilliant combination. I'm still going to put this in S tier. I still like it. Just that's what's missing, the V8 engine, sadly. But yeah, I still think it's top tier. Next up, we've got the RS5. Now, both versions, as you'll see, I'm not as keen on the RS5 shape, so I'm going to pop the first RS5, which was 2010-2016 first gen, and this was the 4.2 V8 engine, again with the 444 brake horsepower engine that the RS4 had. But again, I'm not overly keen on the look of it. I don't think it's aged as well as the RS4. Maybe again, my judgment's been clouded maybe, but I'm going to pop that in the C. That's the slightly newer model. Again, I'm not overly fussed for it. I would put it middle of the road. Average for me, yeah, doesn't really appeal like the RS4 versions did. So yeah, let me know if there's a major discrepancy there in my judgment for those. Next up, we have the TT. So I've chosen the RS versions of the TT. So we have the Mark 1 version here in this lovely orange colour. It's been obviously highly modified with those wheels and probably lowered as well by the looks of it. I'm going to pop this in C tier. I'm not overly impressed with that, just the shape. That's all it is. I think it looks fine, but compared to the other two, I think it looks, yeah, so-so. I really do like the look of the newer TT, which I'm going to pop into the average column here, or row, sorry. And this was the Mark II. This was 2009-2014. Again, 5-cylinder engine pushing out 335 brake horsepower. And then we had the Mark III TT, which I really do like the look of. I'm going to pop that up here. I'm tempted to put it in S tier. I do like the look of it. It's got the 5-cylinder engine still in it, and the 394 brake horsepower engine in that one. But do I put it in S tier or not? S tier or not? No, it's staying in A tier just now. It's just me trying to debate in my head just now where to put these things. Right, so this is going to be a bit of controversy here. So RS6. Now, I know I'm going to get some hate for this. So this is the C5 RS6, 2002-2004. This was a 4.2 litre V8 twin turbo, pushing out 444 brake horsepower. I think they look old-fashioned now, and I'm going to pop it in D tier. It's not appealable to me at all. The engine's amazing, and if you want to go a skip run with your beer bottles and cardboard to the recycling centre, then it's perfect for that. But I don't know. It looks quite dated now, and I know they're really rare now, and they're kind of collector's items as well. If you can get a clean one, they're expensive to find. But yeah, D tier for that one. So please, yeah, let rip in the comments for that choice if you want. So yeah, next up, we've just jumped a couple of generations. I'm afraid, again, I couldn't just squeeze them all in if I just counted every single one, but we've jumped to the C8. This is 2019 to 2020. This is downscaled to a 4 litre V8 twin turbo, pushing out a staggering 591 brake horsepower. I really like the look of this. I've seen one driving around town recently, and it's got the presence. The RS4 looks good, but the RS6 I think is just another step up, and because obviously I put the RS4 already in top tier, you can definitely expect the RS6 to be alongside it. Now we have the RS7. This was the C7 version, I believe. I'm not sure on the stats of the engine, I'm afraid. I imagine it's probably similar to the RS6s. I think they shared, depending on the time of their manufacture, they shared the same engines across the range. Now I'm going to put this one, if I can grab it, pop this one up into A tier. Do like the look of it. Obviously the sound of the engine's amazing as well, but I'm just leaving the space in the top tier for the looks of this next one. This was the C8 one, and I just think this is like absolutely stunning. Maybe it's because it's black as well, it looks amazing in the black with the kind of anthracite wheels, I think that is in the picture. Really good looking car. Presence on the road, amazing engine inside, there's plenty of space inside as well. It's just a good all-rounder, and yeah, I kind of really want to have that at some point in my life. Maybe 10, 15 years, that price of that kind of car, that exact model of car, will be way more affordable in 15 years time. Now, onto supercars. Can you class these? Oh, yeah, R8 supercar, isn't it? I'm sure it is. So the first gen Audi R8, so 2006, 2015. Well, there's loads of models. The base model was 4.2 V8, then there was a V10 model, 5.2 V10, the V10 Plus, which was between 2013 to 2015, and the 5.2 V10 again, with a little bit more horsepower. Not sure what's in this one here exactly, but I do really like the look of the R8s, even the older ones. I'm going to pop this middle of the road. I think it still holds up today. In today's modern times, I think it still looks the part, but I do prefer the look of the slightly newer one, which I'm going to pop up here on the A tier, and that was the second gen from 2015 to 2020. Base model again, 5.2 V10. Oh, so they didn't have a V8 of the second gen, they just had V10 versions, 532 brake horsepower, and then the V10 Plus or performance model had the same V10, but it's pushing out around 602 to 620 brake horsepower, which is pretty nuts in a nice wee coupe like that. So we have next an Audi Q3 RS. I think that's the way you say it, the way around you say it. This was the first gen version. So this was a 2.5 litre 2.5 litre 5-cylinder turbo engine, again with that 306 to 335 brake horsepower engine that you found in the RS3 of that time. And this one I didn't think looked overly good. I'm going to pop it in the same line as the S3 and the RS3 from the same time. I think it's aged kind of poorly. Again, the wee silver accents and stuff, but it just looked like someone had maybe done up a normal Q3 to look like an RS, if that makes sense. But then I will pick this nice green one. I think this is the Sportback versions, which you get. Slightly different from the hatchback. They've got that more kind of coupe slanted roofline at the back of the car. And I really like the look of these, especially in the green as well, it just stands out on the road. And the second gen was 2019 to 2020. This came again with a 2.5 litre engine, and this was pushing out 394 brake horsepower. So I'm going to pop that up on my A tier actually. I really do like the look of them. I think as soon as they brought out that Sportback version with that more sloped roofline at the back onto the boot, it just looked way, way better, and hence why it's going to go in A tier. Next up we have the SQ5. Now, SQ5, we had the petrol model, which was a 3 litre V6 supercharged, 349 brake horsepower, and then a 3 litre V6 TDI, which was 309 brake horsepower, but an amazing amount of torque. Now, this one here for shape, I really like the look of the older shape ones. Definitely not C tier. I'm going to pop it up into B tier because I'm really debating about the second gen one. So this is 2018 to 2020, and again, turbocharged petrol and a TDI, 354 brake horsepower from the petrol and 342 brake horsepower from the diesel, but obviously way more torque in the diesel one. I'm not sure. I got a chance to detail one of these a couple of years ago, and up close, yeah, they look amazing. Yeah, I'm gonna pop it alongside its predecessor. Yeah, let me know your thoughts. I'm undecided about that. I'm not sure. I do like the look of them both, but I still think the older version holds up really well today. I still think you can tell when you see an SQ5 coming towards you on the road, so yeah, not sure. Right, so Mark 1 Leon, it's onto the Seats now. So a Mark 1 Leon, I used to have one that had a 1.9 PD engine with a 150 brake horse. So it was a Cupra, so there's a Mark 1 Leon Cupra diesel version, and it was 150 brake horsepower engine. It was brilliant all around the car. Wish I still had it actually. I do miss it. I'll put a picture on screen of what it looks like. That was before my, can you see on screen, my mechanic days. That was when I was just starting out, and I would do basic modifications, but I wouldn't do anything mechanical. I'd go to my mate's house, Graham again, and he would do a lot of the work, and I'd just be there handing tools to him basically. Wasn't very confident doing cars back then, so I tended not to get my hands dirty with the engine work or anything mechanical on that car, which is now I'm paying the price for now on my Ibiza, because I'm not too sure about how to work the all the diesel gubbins of what goes into a diesel engine compared to my petrol TFSI engine on my Cupra are. So yeah, I wish I'd known more about that car back then when I did have it, but it's a magic car. It pulled so well. I got it remapped pretty much, I think a year into my ownership of it. Got it remapped. That then burnt the clutch out immediately because I was being a little bit silly with it, and had to get a new performance clutch for it. When I got the performance clutch for it, it was an animal then. It just would just, like, it was like literally gripping the road and pulling it towards you. It was such fun to drive. So fond memories of the Mark 1 Leon. I'm going to pop it into my middle of the road. Very desirable cars still to this day. If you can find a clean one, whether it's a diesel Cupra or the Cupra R Mark 1s, which that's a Cupra, sorry, I should have said that picture is a Cupra R, the petrol version. But yeah, I love my diesel Mark 1, and the Cupra Rs I imagine are a lot of fun as well. Never had a shot of a petrol version, but I'm sure they're good fun. Next up, we've actually got two Mark II versions of the Leon. I thought I need to include the K1 because they're a dying breed now. They're getting rarer and rarer, and I think they look really, really good. As you can see, whose car is next door to it, but I think the performance of the K1 was perfectly acceptable. I think it was 240, the same as normal Cupras, but the styling was what set it apart. With the BTCC kit that it had all around, the Centre X exhaust, you could just tell by if you went up behind one, you'd know straight away that's a K1 before you even got close enough to see the badge on the back of the car. They just looked apart. I mostly saw them all in white as well. Can someone let me know if, I'm sure K1's another colour. Yeah, they were, because I remember seeing a purple one on a Facebook group as well, actually. So the K1s were available in other colours, but white seemed to suit it really well. And yeah, I'm going to pop the K1s. Desirable, good looking cars up there. So this could be a bit awkward now because I know a lot of viewers have Mark II Leons themselves, and possibly the Cupra Rs like myself. So where am I going to put my own car? It's not top tier. It's a good car, and it's got its pros and it's got its cons. If it's going on styling, I think the K1 looked better. I think the K1 looks better than my car. Coming out of the factory, maybe a couple of splitters and some side skirts and some other wee bits to it, you can make it look a little bit better, but I still think it's not as good as the K1. But what does make it look nice is the wheels, the big 19-inch alloy wheels that came on it, the kind of black styling that came on it, because it was their facelift Leon as well. Maybe it looks a bit more modern, a little bit more modern. They're very similar cars overall, but with the facelift as well, that made the Cupra Rs look quite smart looking. They were very subtle in their styling, you know, for a Cupra R against a Cupra or a standard sporty version of a Leon. I'm going to pop it on A tier just now, so yeah, that's where it's going. Yeah, next up we have the Mark III Leon Cupra R, which is a very rare car to find these days. I don't think there's many of these ones made actually in this kind of styling. And this was 2014 to 2020, 2-litre turbo engine again, 280 to 300 brake horsepower. Very capable cars as well. Still front-wheel drive back then. Imagine if they made a Leon Cupra R with four-wheel drive, it'd be brilliant. I don't know. I'm going to pop this in B, and that's no disrespect to any Mark III Leon owners, because I do think the Mark III Leon was a step up in quality and comfort, but I think they toned it down. It's when VAG cars, actually any cars around that time, around that 2015 to present day, start to all look the same. Seems like if you look at cars nowadays, you can look at a Focus, you've got a very, very similar look to, say, Vauxhall Astra. You know, they've all got that same kind of standard generic look to them these days. There's nothing that sets them apart. So I'm going to pop that because that's when the Mark III started to kind of follow that trend as well, start to go to that standard looking family hatchback look. And the ones that were sporty versions just didn't really stand out enough for my liking, to be honest. Now we have Ibiza Cupra, so this is the same shape as my white Ibiza FR. Obviously my version is nowhere near as fast as the Cupra was. So the Ibiza Cupra, the Mark III, was 2004 to 2009, 1.8 litre turbo with 178 brake horsepower. I think it looks smart with wee things like, I think this one's from the Maxton website for splitters and extra add-on styling parts. I do really like the look of it. I'm going to pop it in. I'm going to pop it in on B tier. And I'm going to do the same with the Mark IV, which is 2009, 2017, 1.4 litre TSI engine, 178 brake horsepower. I think it deserves to go in there. I'm really struggling now. Because when you start looking back, you're like, is that better than those cars I've just put in there? But just now I'm going to leave it in there. And then we've got the Seat Ibiza, let me find how to say this word. Seat Ibiza Bossa Negra? I think that's how you say it. I think these cars look really smart, and that's why I haven't put the newer Ibiza into A tier, because I wanted to save it for this one, because I think it just made that car look so good out of the factory. Yeah, I really like the look of it. Yeah, the styling of that car just looked better than the standard Cupra. The kind of funny shaped, kind of trapezium, is that what you call it? The shape of the exhaust at the back and the centre, and the front styling and stuff. Again, it's one of those cars like the K1 Leon, you could just tell from a distance of what model that was compared to a standard Ibiza. So next up we have the Seat Ateca Cupra. So this was before Cupra took over the Ateca kind of brand and design and stuff. This was in Seat. We're still doing their sporty version of their own Ateca. I'm going to pop it in B tier. Good family car, plenty of space, plenty of power, four-wheel drive, but it just doesn't look like enough on the road. I don't know. Or does it go in A tier? Because it has got that, I'm sure it's got quad exhaust in the back. I'm going to switch to A tier, I think. Yeah, A tier. Right, now I'm going to kind of upset some Fabia owners here. The early Fabia, the VRS, is going in D tier. I think it's quite an ugly car, and I know it's got like a cult following. Actually, no. This one's in C tier because the first one, sorry, for C tier was Mark 1's 2003, 2007, 1.9 TDI, 130 brake horsepower. So that is basically my Ibiza FR engine and underpinnings in a Fabia body. And that's all they were. They kind of shared the Ibiza, the Polo, and the Fabia. Putting that on the C tier because I feel that they went down a step with the next VRS Fabia, which was the Mark II, 2010, 2013. This is a 1.4 litre TSI engine with 178 brake horsepower, so more power, but I just don't like the look of that. I think those kind of bug-eyed headlights and stuff, I don't know. Could be a personal preference. Again, let me know in the comments, because I just think that looks ugly. And people say the boxy shape of the old Fabia, but yeah, now looking at the two, I definitely don't like the look of the next gen. So it's going in the D tier for that one. Anyway, next up we have the Skoda Kodiaq VRS. So this was around 2018, this model came out. I haven't actually got any stats here for the power figures, I'm afraid, but I imagine it'd be a 2 litre TSI engine, probably around the 300 brake horsepower mark. I think it'd be four-wheel drive as well, I imagine. I really like the look of this one. I think it's equal to the Ateca. They're probably the same car underneath as well, to be honest. And maybe it's the colour choice. I actually think it looks better than the Ateca, but not better, not good enough to go into the S tier. So I'm going to pop it in A tier for the Skoda Kodiaq. Then finally we are on to our Octavia VRSs. So we've got the early day one here in black. So that was the Mark I, 2001 to 2005. Had the standard 1.8 litre turbo engine, 180 brake horsepower. And yeah, I'm not going to say it's dog ugly, but it's not anything that I would tend to go for myself. So, and it's got that similar look. You can see straight away the similar look compared to the Fabia beside it. So yeah, that's where that one's going. I think they definitely improved the look of it in the newer model, the Mark II, which was 2005, 2013. This was the 2 litre TFSI engine that you'd probably find in my car, but the detuned 200 brake horsepower petrol model. You also had a 170 brake horsepower diesel model as well. I think the looks improved definitely for that one. So I'm popping that into B tier. And then finally, the Mark III Octavia VRS 2013 to 2020. And this had a 230 to 245 brake horsepower petrol engine, 2 litre. And it had a 2 litre TDI engine of 184 brake horsepower, the same one you probably find in the Golf GTD and the Leon FR diesel models as well. I think they took a step back with the looks again, so I don't like the look of this that much, so I'm going to pop it back in to see. I don't think it's progress on the previous model that I've put in the C tier, in the B tier, so yeah. What's your thoughts on that? Definitely the newer models now, like the most recent ones, they've gone back up. I think they look a lot better, but definitely that model I'm not as keen on. So, what do you think? My hands are freezing, this garage is absolutely Baltic just now. What are we at? 4 degrees, a standard just now. What do you think about my choices and my overall tier list? Like I said, this tier list is available for you. I'll leave a link in the comments. It will be completely blank with all the car choices, and you can mess around with yourself with friends if you want to see what you think and where you'd place things, and let me know your results of what cars you'd put in the top tier. So I've got the R36, the RS4, the newest one up to the 2020, the RS6 and the RS7. So you can see the trend at the top there, and maybe that's just stereotypical going for the fastest, plushest looking cars, and Audi versus obviously one Volkswagen there as well, but I don't know. Looking back, there's key classics there that I really do like as well. Maybe the TTRS should be up there as well. Again, another Audi. Maybe I'm an Audi fanboy at heart and I've just not admitted it yet, so I don't think that's the case, but yeah. Let me know. I do want to know your comments and your decisions down below compared to what I've chosen here and what you think I've totally been wrong on, because I'm sure there's a few in here that you totally disagree with. If you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, and I'll be back to our normal kind of car content again in the next video. I just wanted to do this for a bit of fun, so let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Right, catch you later. Cheers.